Fantastic Four: First Steps from Disney and Marvel Studios has had a full collapse in the second weekend, looking to clock in negative 66+% compared to its opening weekend as of estimates right now, as per Deadline magazine. That means that Fantastic Four will definitely be one of the movies of the summer. Seventh place. Seventh. But some Hollywood folks out there can't seem to understand what went wrong here, as if we haven't explained it a few times before, but we'll go ahead and do it today, piece by piece. Stay tuned. Here we go. Renegade Online. Well, folks, welcome back. Another great day here at Valiant Renegade. It's good to see all of you out there once again. And if you are like one of the many watching this video not yet subscribed to this channel, please take a moment and turn that little red subscribe button to gray. Hit that like button, hit that notification bell, share this sucker out on the social medias, and of course, please do leave a comment before you head out the door today. Make sure to join us every Sunday and Wednesday afternoon right here at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show. Welp. It tanked in the second weekend, just like we thought. And not because it's a matter of Fantastic Four being good, bad, or otherwise. It's about everything that led up to this being relatively bad and uninteresting to audiences. This is all about the actual box office performance of Marvel in the last 4 to 5 years. You could almost set your watch by it. We've said that dozens, if not hundreds of times right here on Valiant Renegade in videos and live shows over the last few years, or at least since 2021, when theaters reopened with COVID, and you got things like Shang-Chi and the Eternals, and, well, you get the idea. Marvel has a very well-documented history in the modern era, with exceptions to things that we knew about in advance, like Deadpool and Wolverine, and yes, Spider-Man films, which are not Disney Marvel per se, they are Sony pieces. Even though Marvel Studios works on the Spider-Man pictures, produces a lot of the Spider-Man pictures, they are still Sony-owned and Sony-distributed. The problem here is that everything else that Disney does, a dearth of stuff on Disney Plus and a bunch of crap in the theaters, leads to very front-loaded box office performance, and frankly, Fantastic Four is absolutely no different. We told you this about a week ago, and sure enough, wouldn't you know it, it came true. So here's the piece from Deadline magazine: Fantastic Four: First Steps, $40 million second frame. Just to remind you, it wasn't even a week ago that Deadline magazine was projecting a $48 million second weekend, a 60% drop from the first weekend. And then over the next few days after that, it became a $45 to $47 million, and now a $40 million second frame. What do we always say when projections keep trending in one direction or another as the days go on, leading into the actual thing that they are trying to project? It means that trend line is probably going to continue. If it's fallen that much, from $48 million on Monday to $40 million today, chances are that the actual weekend numbers domestically for Fantastic Four are going to come in under $40 million. For now, the first weekend of August has the Fantastic Four: First Steps at $11.7 million on Friday. That figure is 80% below, 80% below the opening Friday just a little over a week ago. That, of course, included a baked-in $24.5 million Thursday preview into that. That was a full $2 million ahead of where Superman was just a week or two earlier. Well, we know what happened after that. Fantastic Four's actual Friday, as we explained in a video earlier this week, was actually about $1 million less than Superman. And then Saturday fell $3 million or so beyond that. And Sunday, another $3 to $4 million below that. Everything was very, very front-loaded. And we knew right off the bat, once we dissected those actual numbers that came in early this past week, that this movie, Fantastic Four: First Steps, was in for a disaster.
It's been described as the gayest Marvel project ever.
I definitely think it is.
Here's the data on the numbers right now. pulling in a $40 million estimated second weekend. You can see that right there, a 66% drop, and it's probably going to be a little bit more once we get the actual data come Monday or early Tuesday morning. So Fantastic Four First Steps through its first 10 days, internationally and domestically. The full global picture now stands at $368 million. That's probably going to put it somewhere around 500 to 550 million at the end of its run. Let's split the difference and call it $525 million. That is absolutely not what the Walt Disney Company and Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige were hoping for, I promise you. And the compounding issue to that is that there's probably not much ancillary business out there for this one. That means nobody's really going to be buying Fantastic Four toys and merchandise and things like this. And like we said before, just imagine what's going to happen Halloween night. We know where the kids went. They went to Superman. They enjoyed Superman. And that means that probably on Halloween night, you're going to see about a dozen little trick-or-treaters showing up as Superman, and probably nobody showing up as Daddy Pedro. Speaking of Superman, the box office there now stands at $551 million, and most people seem to expect this movie to finish probably somewhere around $625 million, between $600 and $650. So again, we're going to split the difference there to be fair. Like I said the other day, Superman is likely to finish up with about $100 million more in global box office than Fantastic Four. Before anybody climbs up my ass on this one, let me just remind folks something I've been saying over and over and over again. I'm not out here trying to shill for Superman, and I've said many times that I don't think Superman's box office is anything to write home about. But the reality is, the biggest competition of the summer was the two superhero films. These were always going to be measured against one another, and Superman is going to walk away from this or fly away from it as the clear winner. But that's not all. If we look at Fantastic Four First Steps and we consider where the finality of this box office run is going to land, probably, again, a little bit over 500 million, maybe around 525, maybe as high as 550, but at this point, with the drops that are happening on this, that seems very, very unlikely. Let's also consider where this is going to fall in the grand scheme of things in terms of the summer box office. There was an X account that posted this earlier this morning that I saw floating around as people reposting it. Let's kind of dissect this one for a little bit because it's missing a tremendous amount of information. July has ended, and these are the box office numbers for the three biggest films of the summer so far. Not July, the summer. Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman, and Fantastic Four. About that. I'm sorry I couldn't help myself. Of course, this post seemingly forgot about all the other movies that were bigger than Fantastic Four and Superman and even Jurassic World in one case. Lilo and Stitch turning in about $1 billion. F1, How to Train Your Dragon, and yes, even Mission Impossible. Lilo and Stitch is winding down. It managed to eke over $1 billion, which is great for this movie. Definitely a hit, no questioning here. And for all the people out there that think I do nothing but take a piss on Disney left and right, no. We call balls and strikes. This was a big success for Disney. This was definitely a home run. And frankly, we predicted this movie would be a big home run for Disney and would probably get to about $1 billion well before the movie even came out. I had my concerns during the run, seeing some of the numbers fall week over week, but this was a family movie that just hung around in the box office. Then there's Jurassic World, which is not only still a relative juggernaut at the box office, although nowhere near as big as it was 10 years ago, but the first Jurassic World starring Chris Pratt, it's still doing admirably well. Now, of course, this does extremely well overseas in places like China, and roughly $70 million, $80 million of this box office is from China, so do take that into account. That is something that 95 to 99% of other movies don't enjoy over there because of the way that government and that system works. But that being said, Jurassic World is still a giant merchandising juggernaut. It is an evergreen property that sells hundreds of millions of branded toys, at least in dollar cents, hundreds of millions of dollars of branded toys each and every single year, maybe even more than that. Then there was How to Train Your Dragon's live-action remake, which didn't light up the box office quite as much as I thought it could. but it still performed admirably at $618 million worldwide. Universal certainly made their money back on this one, not to mention a big, fat, magnanimous check coming their way from Netflix to get this movie in the pay one window. Universal will make bank on this one, and it was a great advertisement for the opening of Epic Universe. They played this one well, although the box office didn't quite get as high as I thought, like I said. But nonetheless, this movie too will also beat Fantastic Four. Maybe even beat Superman by a little bit. We'll have to see. And then there's Mission Impossible, which didn't do that great at the box office, but these films have historically had a very lucrative post-theatrical financial performance with licensing and streaming and PVOD and things like this. So the story isn't quite over here for this one. However, at $592 million, it is almost 100% going to comfortably beat Fantastic Four. And people keep forgetting about F1, which is headed back into IMAX screens next weekend, because why not? This was a big hit for IMAX. This was an IMAX brand ambassador, and is currently sitting at $545 million. Again, once this movie finishes its run and Fantastic Four finishes its run, guess what? F1 is almost absolutely certain to beat F4.
But wait! There's more!
We've got My Time to Shine. Hello. I know, it's one of the stupidest names on social media. God knows who this person is, but to this person's credit, they have managed to scoop some good stories in the past year or so. So I do pay attention to what they have to say to see if they continue to have their good track record in calling things before they happen when it comes to casting, movies coming out, and other insider information. It's been an interesting watch. That being said, but seriously, how do you explain this? He says, or she says, like what happened regarding Fantastic Four with an 80% drop Friday over Friday? You know me, I'm always going to give my opinion when it rolls right up into my wheelhouse. Disney, Marvel, and Pedro Pascal. This isn't hard to figure out. I projected this months ago that F4 would only get about $100 million more than Captain Falcon DEI, and that's exactly where it looks like it's going to shake out. The audience has checked out from Marvel long ago, thanks to years of garbage product post-Endgame. And then there's Hollywood scooper Daniel Richtman, or Daniel RPK. He says, okay, WTF, at this rate, we're looking at a total of around 500 to 550 million. Yes, and possibly under 300 million domestic. Not a flop, bro. That's a flop. But it's definitely not good either. I loved this movie, and I don't understand why this is happening. See, even Gary gets it.
I like the D.
And then there was my reaction. So only about 100 million more than Captain Falcon. Said that would be the case. Marvel lost the script after Endgame. Audiences long ago checked out. Simple as that. Disney refuses to acknowledge it. And then there's John Rocca. This poor guy seems to be having coronaries right and left over the failure of Marvel. And he goes right back to where he usually does. I don't try to pick on other YouTubers, and I'm not specifically trying to pick on him, but the reality is he is reflecting a sentiment that, frankly, a lot of people in Hollywood have, which is the biggest and most misguided mistake. Listen to this. John says, some people won't want to hear this, but it might be time to stop putting all the blame on studios, I guess like Disney and Marvel, or creatives for underperforming movies. It might be time to start looking at the intelligence level of moviegoers. There it is, the siren call of the lefty weirdos in Hollywood. Sorry, John, but I'm going to call it like I see it. And if you want to come after general audiences, well, that's a whole different story. Calling the audiences stupid and too stupid to go see this movie, too stupid to enjoy it, is not a good way to engender good business practices or, frankly, financial profitability. He continues, if a phenomenally stupid film like Jurassic World Rebirth can crush films like Superman and Fantastic Four at the box office, then something might be wrong with all of us and not the studios or the creatives. Not really. It's a matter of understanding the audiences that you're targeting. And frankly, Jurassic World, even though the new one, I agree, wasn't that great at all, it still hits its target demographic, which is younger children. And it's still big in other places around the world. Like I said, take China out of the equation, and quite frankly, Superman may well beat Jurassic World without China in the mix, or at least come very close. Then you also have the issue of, no matter what, Fantastic Four is still going to be well behind Superman. So this is the issue. This is the reality. It's not the audiences out there. It's what Hollywood is making, and the Walt Disney Company has trained people to believe that everything they put out is going to be trash. And unfortunately, that does impact even movies like Superman from DC and Warner Brothers. You see, it's not superhero fatigue, it's crappy movie fatigue. But unfortunately, people will associate any superhero film out there in one layer or another with what Marvel has done in the last 4 years. The entire industry has been punished thanks to Disney. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. We'll be right back here this evening at 6 p.m. Eastern live for the show, and we'll be talking about this and much more then. Take care. Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.